to you from Teachable's otherworldly headquarters. This is Livin' Now.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Livin' Now. I'm Cheech, and we're keeping our eye on what's happening in the future. Did you ever walk into a room and completely forget why you went in there in the first place? You're not alone. It turns out doorways might actually be messing with your memory and changing your nervous system. Psychologists at the University of Notre Dame studied this doorway effect and found that passing through a door acts like a mental reset button. It signals your brain to close the chapter on one task and start fresh on another, which can mean you forget what you were just about to do. Walking through a doorway creates an event boundary. Your neural activity reorganizes itself, creating a clean slate and opening up for new experiences. Ancient architects harnessed this phenomenon to alter consciousness when entering sacred spaces. Thanks for tuning in. Now let's look to what's next.
Sunray, like a ray of sun, and I am originally from Orange County, California, in a small town called Old Town of Orange. And I just really love, from that space where I grew up, there was a lot of antique shops and old homes, and there's so much uniqueness between one home to the next home, or just in that space. And so I guess I was always surrounded by a lot of the historical feelings and differences between one space and the next space, that it just allowed me to kind of be in an environment where I was growing up, where uniqueness was celebrated. And because of that, it's lent into who I am today. And my time here in Portland. So 10 years ago, I moved to Portland, Oregon for other reasons than where I'm at now. But anyways, that's all to say that in the same studio apartment building that I live in now, 10 years ago I moved into. And I've also lived in every quadrant. I say 5 quadrants because of North Portland by St. John's, but in that same apartment that I'm in now, I was meditating one day and I connected to this entity, this being that took me off to another planet or space, and it really pulled me into recognizing who I was, the essence at the core. And then that entity was like, you are a ray of light. You are a sun ray, quite literally. And so after that meditation, I didn't know what to think of almost, because I think I was just shocked. It's like, wow, this was my first time kind of physically being here, but connecting to a different part of myself. And then that self was also connected to, I think, the more cosmic, the cosmic movements of the planets and the stars. And one could say that it's a little out there, but it's funny, what was out there actually brought me closer to who I was right here. It's so easy to feel something new and get scared and jump away, and to prevent yourself from diving into something like that. And now it's been a whole journey of discovering myself, and I'm excited because it continues every single day. I'm always learning something new about myself. Having that awareness is a tool that that has revealed itself to me, and I hope can be inspirational for other people. Readings and messages, I always like to explain, like tarot, divination, any form of divination is really a tool. And I can't say that I'm the one who coined the term permission slips. I believe that is actually Eckhart Tolle, who talks about permission slips, and that we give ourselves permission to access a tool and to shift a perspective or mindset. And that is what tarot is and what crystals are, and they help us tap into a message that lies within us already. There are no negative messages. They're just experiences and messages that come up that call to us to dive in a little deeper and to make the necessary necessary movements or steps, maybe even questions. Maybe it's a prompt that comes up that has you to reflect on a part of yourself, and that can open up doors to then viewing something from a different point of view that you never really thought you would find yourself. The messages that are within us, because they're multidimensional, they can also come from a different dimension that allows us to access the gift and the light that helps us on our path here on Earth. But how do you do that? You can't necessarily just jump into another dimension and speak a whole different language and then speak that to someone else. You have to be able to still fall in line with the fabric of being human. Readings, I always suggest a couple of guides or guidelines, and that is to really be open to the messages that come with you, with neutrality, trust, and grace. Those three will inevitably keep your heart open to messages and open to realities that you never knew that you'd explore and find yourself. Like a little disclaimer in saying that, take what resonates and leave what doesn't, because not every message is meant for every person, and not every person is ready to receive that message. Sometimes just writing a message I offer to you, writing it down, any message that I offer to anyone, I always say, oh, you should maybe write it down, because maybe you're not resonating it with right in this moment, but because my messages are timeless, it may be that in a couple of years from now, you look back at something that you written down on a piece of paper, and then at that point in time, you're like, whoa, that was incredible. And so later down the road, if those patterns start to illuminate and unfold into something that actually happens, one can't say that they never received the message or the knowledge. or the kind of like signal to make a shift. Because that's ultimately what I hope that my messages bring to people is value and insight. Okay, so I have tools here that I often use in my divination, or tools I've used, permission slips as I've mentioned, that help me and help guide me through my process in channeling. Recently, wands have been really helpful in being able to tap into certain energy points. Tarot cards provide the messages, and crystals really energize the space. I've been currently using the Golden Healer crystal as a tool because it really brings me a sense of warmth and radiance. I mean, come on, I'm Sunray. So this is kind of like sometimes when my rays are a little down, I reach out for this and then I go, and then it kind of helps me kind of re-energize. But as a quick example for the readings that I do, I have an original deck from when I first moved to Portland. I'll just show it to you right now. Probably won't this time around pull a card from here. Actually, got a Lenormand deck, also what I won't be pulling from right now, but I'll kind of show you the Lenormand deck. It predates the tarot deck, and it is just a series of images. And what you do is you pull more than one card, because what it does is it creates a sentence. So there's always a subject, an action, and then the result. So it's a woman holding the key to a intuitive message that will help the person ground. That can be the example here. But the more I practice, the more I learn, and the more it's like really cool. So I mean, again, pulling messages from inside. What I would really love to do is pull a card from one of my newest, also another newest deck, that is a Art Nouveau deck. It's only 22 cards, so it's only the major arcana. And wow, and it's gold plated, as you can see. So it's going to hold a very potent message, and that's what the major arcana kind of distills. It's one part of the deck to a tarot deck. The second part is where you'll see the court cards, and all of the kind of wands, cups, pentacles, and swords that we're more familiar with. So for this message, I'm thinking I might use my wand. Is what I've been playing around with and learning lately, is feeling the energy from the cards and the energy from the crystal that really pulls in. Okay. This card is going to be the Devil. It's very, a really fun card. A lot of people tend to be afraid of this card. They're like, it's a bad message. But again, as a reminder, there are no negative messages. They're just a message to look deeper. Actually, if you look at the word devil spelled backwards, is the word lived. So it is a card that reminds us to live more and to explore more. Here, this being holds a torch of fire and is sitting on a box. So it's also about the mystery of life that one lives in and the actionable steps that person can take while they live and walk their path. What brings me joy is to help guide others and to be there for others as well. Shine some light, because we are all light. So if I can remind you, as that being reminded me that I'm a light, how much it's changed my world, I'm hoping that I can do the same. Thanks.